I want to start with a question. So, do you want to be irreplaceable or indispensable? So, this was a question that I was asked about 7 years ago by my design lead at the time. And frankly, I actually didn't understand what that meant really at all. Broadly speaking, it means are you kind of specializing your talent, or is your value in it being broad? So, are you a specialist or are you a generalist? And really, this is something that's stuck with me over the last 7 years of working in a big corporate and kind of steering how I approach my career and also how I start to think about design and how design has started to evolve. This is a piece of work that was done by Dan Eames where he started to map all the methods that exist at the moment. There's about 300 up here at the moment. So the question is, do I need to be an expert in some of these processes and methods, or should I be knowing all of these? There's a vast, vast majority of these. The same with when we look at going on LinkedIn, huge amount of roles here, about 75 that I found there. Everything from your industrial designers to your product designers, all the way down to your public health designers. Again, asking us to either be generalists or to be specialists. A couple of observations though is like we've moved from, in the place that I work within a corporation, from outputs to outcomes. So less about designing an app and more thinking about how do we start to improve employee retention, how do we start to drive revenue. So this has given us a greater seat at the table from a design perspective. When I talk about the corporate ecosystem, everyone has a place. Salespeople hunt, engineers build, product owners, they lead, and designers, sometimes we might have a little bit of an identity crisis. So sometimes we're a little bit unsure and we have to communicate this. Am I a craftsperson? Am I a facilitator? Am I an innovator, an artist, a technologist, a storyteller, or a project manager, as someone as my team asked me the other day, which was quite disheartening. The answer is yes, and usually we say, hey, we're a mythical creature, we're a unicorn. But actually, I think if we put ourselves in our colleagues' shoes, they see us as this. This is a duck-billed platypus. It's an absolute anomaly. It's an egg-laying mammal. It literally has a duck bill. It has webbed feet like a duck. So it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, but it's not a duck. There's no duck DNA in there. And what I love about this animal, and why I think as designers we're like this, not only do we have all these amazing features and attributes and traits, is one, it's a highly, highly adaptable animal to no matter what context it is in. And it's an animal that defies convention. It doesn't really care what we think about. It doesn't care that we don't put it in, that it's not a mammal. So what does this all mean? I think, great, design's changing. There's lots of new roles. There's lots of new methods out there. We're all platypus maybe. But I think the big change at the moment is AI, or our context is changing. It used to take time. So it took 50 years for electricity to be adopted, 30 years for TV to be adopted, and 15 years to go from social media being used on college campuses to grandparents talking about it online and using it. These were called S-curves. We've talked about them earlier today. What we're noticing is these S-curves are becoming more and more like I-curves. That last one is all around AI and around ChatGPT. So what you could previously do before was have a whole career in design on one specific thing. That has now vastly changed. So this is the slide Rudy warned you about. A man on stage telling you AI won't take your job, but a designer using AI will. It's actually a conversation that we had today that Rudy was talking about in training while he taught us how to use AI and be better designers. But I truly, truly fundamentally believe this. So I think this has really changed our question. So it's less about being irreplaceable or indispensable, and it's about being irreplaceable and indispensable. So AI can help us be both of these things, both a generalist and a specialist, but I think we need three big behaviors to take forward into our practice. The first one's freshness. So freshness is all about seeking new experiences. And when I talk about new experiences, that keeps us original, creative, and makes connections that no large language model can make. Rudy always talks about a large language model being like vanilla. So how do we start to add those sprinkles on top? And what I'd ask everyone in this room is freshness should be something that you do every day. It should be something that you make a personal behavior. It should be taking a new walk. It should be talking to someone new. It should be brushing your teeth with the other hand. It should be coming to events like today. The next kind of personal behavior you should be exhibiting is around intuition. So a key part of getting deep knowledge around a topic area is knowing what does your gut say? Is this an area that's worth exploring? And as designers, I think we've become very reliant on others and data and taking steer, particularly in a corporate environment, and I think we need to have better intuition. And often the biggest thing standing in the way of intuition is yourself. So having the confidence to be able to trust your gut, and if your gut says go for it, to make sure that you listen and you lean into it. And finally, it's bravery. So when I talk about bravery, this is about taking intentional, thoughtful risks, getting your ideas out there, both to inspire others. I think the other 11 speakers have done that today. And I think personally, we should all challenge ourselves to be able to do this. But when I also talk about bravery, most people think about bravery as The opposite of it is cowardness. It's not. It's conformity. It's doing the same things that we have been doing. So what I'd ask everyone to do is embrace your inner platypus. I'd ask you to be highly adaptable, continue to evolve, and don't be worrying about what boxes we're putting ourselves in.
Amazing.